Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to Knicks Media. This is Richie, and in this video, I want to keep talking about that game last night because the Knicks put up 140 points, and there's a lot to talk about. But the center point of this video is going to be about Frank Ntilikina because he was the next man up after Elfrid Payton went down with an injury. So what will we expect for the rotations in the future, and why I think that last night's rotations worked very well together. I'm going to talk about everything about that. Before I hop into the video, I just want to mention if you guys want to subscribe to Knicks Media, make sure you do so. And if you guys want to check me out over on Instagram and Twitter, that is at nyknicks_media. And do not forget to hit that thumbs up button if you guys enjoyed. With that being said, let's jump right into the video. So last night, Elfrid Payton goes down with a hamstring injury and he is out for the game. I made a video about the injury and I said, I wonder who's going to get stepped up, who's going to come off the bench with Immanuel Quickley, because I assume Derrick Rose is going to start. First of all, Derrick Rose filled in for Elfrid Payton beautifully. 18 points, 6 assists, 7-11 from the field. But the question mark was, who's the next man off the bench? Is Tibbs going to have a 9-man rotation? Is he going to bring up Austin Rivers? Is it Frank? It was Frank. Frank Ntilikina, in his first game back since December 26th, he looked like a really good player. And no, did he drop 20 points? Even 10 points? No, that's not Frank Ntilikina's value. What Frank Ntilikina did last night proves that he needs to get minutes by any means necessary. And why? His plus minus was plus 17 last night. When he was on the floor, the Knicks were playing good basketball. They scored 17 more points than the opposing team. Frank comes in, 3 steals. He already proved his defensive value. He's easily the best perimeter defender on the entire team. So I was always wondering how Frank cannot find minutes on this team, especially with a Tom Thibodeau type of defense in place where he's so defensive minded. How would you not let Frank get out there? Because I'm totally okay with Frank being the secondary ball handler next to Immanuel Quickley. He can just focus on spot up shooting, driving to the rim at times. We saw him do a beautiful left-handed layup finishing through contact. We also saw him hit a 3, and his ability to just lock down a defender. He did so many things that does not show up in the stat sheet last night, such as off-ball defense, shutting down Buddy Hield. He was denying the ball, so he cannot even touch it, and then he forced a turnover. That was not on the stat sheet. That does not count as a steal because he was all over. He was so pesky. He was literally just trapping Buddy Hield off the ball, and that forced De'Aaron Fox to throw the ball out of bounds. That's not going to show up in the stat sheet. He also drew a charging foul, sacrificed his body. That's a turnover. That's not going to show up in the stat sheet. There's so many things that Frank Ntilikina did last night that proves that he needs to be in the lineup. And again, Frank Ntilikina's problem his whole career was 1, consistency, and 2, injuries. So the big question is, what are they going to do when Elfrid Payton comes back? I love the lineup last night of Derrick Rose and RJ Barrett in the starting lineup as our backcourt. I always said that Elfrid Payton and RJ Barrett are not a good match. They both cannot space the floor. They're both not sharpshooters, and it was just not a good dynamic. Derrick Rose is so good with RJ Barrett because he finds him. He passes the ball to RJ in the corner. He passes it to RJ when he's cutting to the rim, something that Elfrid does not do. I love Derrick Rose in the starting lineup. And then off the bench, we saw Immanuel Quickley and Frank Ntilikina. And wow, that opened things up for IQ and especially Alec Burks, because I don't know if you guys realized, I mentioned this in my recap video, but the IQ and Derrick Rose duo off the bench was very awesome for the first 4 or so games when Derrick Rose came to the Knicks. And then it kind of stalled out. It kind of got I was getting a little worried. They didn't really look like who's the ball handler, who's the point guard, who's the shooting guard. It felt like every other possession, D Rose was bringing the ball up, and then all of a sudden Immanuel Quickley was bringing the ball up, and that was good because it kept the defenders on their toes. They don't know who's running the one or not, and it's very dope to have a versatile backcourt of they both can be primary ball handlers. But the dynamic did not seem to work, and Immanuel Quickley got into a funk. He hit a rookie spell. He had 4 games in a row where he did not really do anything. He was shooting very inefficiently, and same thing with Derrick Rose. And then all of a sudden they switched the lineup. D Rose is in the starters. IQ's coming off the bench. Now he doesn't have to worry about who's the primary ball handler. Immanuel Quickley is the point guard off the bench, and Frank Ntilikina is the secondary ball handler. And IQ drops 25 points in 20 minutes. And Alec Burks lights up the fourth quarter, because I feel like Derrick Rose in that second unit, he kind of sometimes gets the ball and he wants to put the ball on the rim like he should, because he's Derrick Rose and he has every single great ability to put the ball on the rim at an efficient level like we saw last night with those starters. So what I'm trying to say is, what are they going to do with Elfrid Payton? first of all, I'm expecting Elfrid to get healthy soon and go back in that starting lineup and go back to the lineup that we've been seeing for the past couple weeks. But I don't like that. I don't want to see Frank go back down to the situational role, because I love what Frank Ntilikina's value to this team is, and I feel like him and Immanuel Quickley could really be a good backcourt. The dynamic of Frank's defense and Immanuel Quickley's sharp shooting ability and driving to the rim and drawing these crazy fouls, I feel like it's a beautiful, versatile backcourt that we're not going to be able to see unless Elfrid is either traded, waived, or remains injured. It's that simple. Elfrid Payton has been playing pretty good basketball for the past 5 or 7 games. He definitely deserves a lot of credit. He's been putting the ball in the rim very efficiently. He's been passing the ball, actually. He's been averaging around 4.5 assists. But the problem with Elfrid with me is he needs like 18 to 19 shots to get to the stats that D Rose had last night. Derrick Rose shot 11 times. He had 18 points. When Elfrid Payton gets 18 points, he like shoots the ball 20 times, hits like 7 or 8 or 9 of those field goal attempts. So he's never really efficient. He cannot shoot the ball. Derrick Rose actually has a jump shot. As you can see, he's doing step back mid-range jumpers. He actually hit his 3-point jump shot last night as well. So Derrick Rose spaces the floor for RJ and Julius and Reggie and Nerlens Noel, when Elfrid really doesn't. So I love the dynamic of the backcourt starting of RJ and D Rose, and then IQ and Ntilikina off the bench. I really think that's a match made in heaven. I love it, but again, it was a small sample size. We cannot overreact over just one game against the Sacramento Kings, who are the worst defense in the NBA. So yes, I should ground myself and make sure that you guys realize that this might not happen every game, that where Frank and IQ are going to look really good off the bench together, and D Rose and RJ are going to look together starting, because we did go up against a very bad team in the Sacramento Kings. But you also have to realize we went up against this same exact Sacramento Kings team 2 weeks ago with Elfrid Payton starting and Derrick Rose not on the team, and we lost. And we scored 94 points. So that's something to put into account, because for everyone saying like, oh, it's just the Kings, like, it doesn't matter, we should not be overreactive over this. First of all, we did this. We went up against the Kings already and lost with Elfrid Payton in the starting lineup, and it was embarrassing. And 2, you need to beat up on teams like the Sacramento Kings before you can beat up the really good teams. That's what Alan Hahn said on the post-game coverage on MSG, and it's a really good point. You need to be able to beat the... Alan Hahn didn't say that. Steve Novak said that on MSGPM last night, and it's such a good point. You need to be able to go off on the bad teams before you have the confidence to do this against the really good elite teams. So that's what the Knicks team needs to do. When they're going into a game against a team like the Kings that are the worst defense, they need to drop 140 points. I don't expect them to do it all the time against bad defenses, but it's a really good sign. Everything was clicking. But the center point of this video is I love the rotations last night. I love Frank Ntilikina's first game off the bench in December. He did all the dirty work. He was facilitating the rock. He had a beautiful pass to Obi Toppin for a dunk. He stole the ball, which was so awesome to see, and then he dishes it to IQ for the three-pointer. A lot of sequences last night that Frank Ntilikina showed his value on this team, and Tom Tibbs was very impressed. So it's going to be interesting to see. Tibbs definitely realized, like, wow, I do got something with Frank Ntilikina, especially defensively, because we know Tibbs values defense. So let me know down below in the comment section what you guys expect from the rotations. What do you think is going to happen when Elfrid gets healthy? Do you think it's going to go back to the rotations that we've seen for the whole season, basically? That's probably most likely. If the Knicks coaching staff is smart, they somehow find a way to get Frank involved, because his defense is that valuable. And if we want to get defense and want to be a top 5 defense, I mean, we've been a top 5 D without Frank, but I feel like we can go to another level with him, because in my opinion, he's our best perimeter defender, and that's the value he brings to the Knicks. Let me know again down below in the comments your takes on the video and what you guys think. If you guys enjoyed the video, do not forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you guys stayed until the end, do not forget to comment down below the Statue of Liberty emoji. That does it for this video. Stay tuned for more Knicks content. Appreciate all the support, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Let's go Knicks. Peace.